Shaving with Starr. I'm, as always, your host, Starr. So yeah, let's get started. So, at a certain point, I quit trying to be, like, popular. I had made attempts to do it whenever I was in, elementary. Wasn't working out, and so at one point I was just like, all right, well, forget this, you know, like I'm not going to waste my time anymore trying to be popular. So I didn't. Also, I had started going to camp outside of Overton, and so I was meeting other people, and they had no preconceived notions about who I was or anything, and so it was almost like I could reinvent myself. And when I would then go back and be in the regular school year, you know, that attitude would kind of come out, you know, and because sometimes people would, you know, they had picked on me before in the past, I would just throw that right back at them once I finally started, like, asserting myself, and so I didn't care most times, you know, but there was the one point in my high school career where I did maybe sometimes want to be like the rest of the people. And this came up my junior year when I went to prom. So like this is like May or April of 1993. I had asked this girl out, a friend of mine. I kind of liked her, you know, so I was like, oh, well, let's go to prom. So she said yes, and I was real nervous, man, because like we had kind of gone out like on a couple of dates, but you know, man, I was so awkward back then. I didn't know what to do on a date, so like, you know, I just didn't, you know, like it was. So like I was hoping that like everything that I did would like show her like, hey, I'm a little interested in you, and so like the night of prom, I was like, I was so nervous and I wanted everything to be nice and like as perfect as I could make it. You know, I'd bought like, I mean, I'd rented like this tux. It had like a huge like silver lapel kind of thing that looked really, it looked good for the time, but I don't think it's held up over the years. And and like we went to dinner with my friend Alan and his date, you know, and so it was a good time. And so we get to prom and we are taking our pictures, and so the the picture's taken, and I think, were my eyes closed in that picture? Did I should I maybe ask the photographer to take another like take of us, you know, like, and this was before digital, so it's not like he could like look at it and see in the viewfinder. You know, this is all film back in those days, and it's not, so he couldn't like, you know, look and go, oh yeah, man, you closed your eyes, or, and so I was pretty sure that I had, you know, not closed my eyes, and so went on with the rest of my prom. So then, like, I guess maybe a couple of weeks later, when we got the pictures back, my eyes were like in the process of closing. So like it gave me like this kind of like dazed look. It looked like I was either drunk or had been doing some heavy drugs, neither of which I was doing. But I was also at the time very notorious for always messing up pictures. I was always the guy that was, if it was in like the drama picture for the yearbook, or if we got some award for the paper or something, I was usually doing some face, being, you know, an idiot, trying to make myself stand out, get some kind of attention from everyone. So, even though this was a genuine accident, I was kind of sort of blamed for doing it on purpose. My date was not very happy about this because it basically ruined her prom photos as well. Um, I don't think she even kept any of them. She was so pissed. And I was, oh man, I was so upset. I was like the one time when I wanted everything to go perfect, it didn't. You know, like so. I mean, of course, today, you know, like the photographer would be like, "Oh, hey kid, you know, I think you closed your eyes a little. Let me take another one, you know, because we have all this digital technology to come in and take care of some of that, you know." And so that turned out, you know, and so that didn't really turn out to be the best experience. So the next year, there wasn't anyone that I was really interested in at school, and plus, even if I was, all the girls were taken either by other classmates or by from guys out of town. So it was really kind of hard to date, like, at least for me. I mean, and trust me, I didn't have any ladies knocking on my door all the time. So, um, so that year came around. So 1994 comes up, my senior prom, and I'm thinking, I really don't care for all this. You know, it's a lot of just hubbub for nothing. So I thought, you know, if I'm gonna go to prom, then I'm only gonna go if I can take somebody that I am really gonna have a good time with. So I called up my friend Shayna, who lived in Tyler, Texas. I had met Shayna a few years back. We had met at church camp when the summer before my 8th grade. We're the same age and stuff, and we were like a boyfriend girlfriend couple for like that week, you know, and stuff, and you know, because like being that age and not having access to transport, we just stayed friends after that, you know, and sometimes it's, you know, we'd meet up and, you know, stuff. Our friends, you know, would go over to Tyler and hang out with them because, you know, she was part of she had some cool friends that we like to hang out with and vice versa. So I called her up and was like, "Hey Shayna, would you like to go to the prom with me? Like, because I really don't want to go if I can't take someone that I like, you know." And it's cool. So if you can, that's cool, you know. But she was like, "Well, what's the date?" And I was like, "All right, well, it's you know, this day and this date." And she's like, "Oh yeah, I can go to that." And I was like, "Perfect! Like, oh, it's gonna be so much fun, you know." And so a few weeks go by, and it's getting closer to prom. So I call her up to you know, just go over the details of like, all right, you know, like what time I'm gonna pick you up, and blah blah blah. And it also happened that our prom that year was in Tyler, where she lived, so it was gonna be nice and convenient as well, like for me to take her to my prom with me. So I make that phone call, and and I'm like, "Hey, so I just wanted to verify, you know, before I see you on Saturday." And she goes, "Saturday?" And at that moment, I knew something was wrong. And what had happened was I had told her the right day, but I told her the wrong date, or something like that. Maybe it was vice versa. So she thought she was busy because what it turned out was like I thought that, or we both thought that her prom was the night before. So it totally worked out. Like she'd go to her prom like on that Friday, and then she'd go to my prom on Saturday. Perfect. And hang out with me and stuff, you know. Kind of like a, you know, send off before we both go off to college and stuff like that, you know. Good time to hang out. And so, well, and now it turns out that our proms are both on the same night because I screwed up with, you know, telling her the right date and everything. So it's like, oh man, like, damn it. I really wanted to hang out with her that night. So, and I'm like, all right, well, that's cool. We'll go to your prom and, you know, have fun. She's like, no. Like, I'll go to yours too. And I was like, well, how are we going to do this? And she's like, well, I'll go to my prom first. It might have been starting earlier, I don't know. And then she's like, and she was not really also in the whole prom thing either, but so she didn't have to spend a lot of time at hers. More like just show up for the parents, take your pictures, and then, you know, go off to whatever after parties or around. So so that's the decision, was that she would go to hers, and then she would meet me like at the parking lot of Hastings, which is like a book and CD like a retail store. And I was like, all right, fine, that's cool. I mean, we'll make it work. So the day comes, and it was actually kind of a little bit of relief, because then I didn't have to worry about dinner, or even a corsage. You know, I think like we were gonna coordinate the colors so that like her corsage from her other day was gonna, you know, so it all worked out. So I drive over to Tyler. You know, I get dressed up and borrow my grandmother's car, and I'm a little hungry, so I decide to go to McDonald's before I meet up with her. And being a little married prankster that I am, I decided to have a little fun while I was in there. So I went in, and of course I look, you know, I look pretty good. I clean up well, as you can see, and I look really sad, kind of pissed off. Order, you know, my value meal, and I go and sit down, kind of just eating in the corner by myself, looking just really depressed, you know. And this guy and this girl walk in, and they order, and then they come and sit down next to me, and he goes to the bathroom, and he was in there for like a long time, almost the entire conversation that I had with this girl that I'm about to tell you about, which was kind of weird. So anyway, she then turns to me and says, "So, are you going to the prom?" And I go, "I don't know." And she goes, "What's wrong?" And I go into this like complicated story about how I went to go pick up my prom date, you know, my girlfriend, and when I got to the door, there was some other guy there, you know, so I'm here to like, oh, I'm here to pick up, you know, Amy, you know, I made up some name, somebody, and, you know, and then his response is like, "Well, no, you're not," you know, and then there was a little bit of like an argument, and then she tells me that like you know, "Oh, I'm real sorry, Starr, I can't go to the prom with you now," and so I'm like, fine. So I tell this story, this lie to this woman, and she is apparently buying the whole thing. She is believing my little sob story of getting stood up at the door by this girl, with this other guy there. So her question to me is, "Well, are you gonna go now?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I mean, should I?" It's like, it might be really awkward. And she was like, "No, you should go. You should really go. Like, it's your prom, you know, you're never gonna get that experience again." And I go, "You know what? I think you're right. I think I am gonna go." So she inspired me. She inspired me to, you know, turn that little frown upside down, go to my prom, and have the, you know, last laugh. So I finish my meal and thank her and wish, you know, she wishes me good luck and stuff and have a fun time. And I get in the car, and I lose it. I start laughing because I can't believe, one, that I was able to get through that lie. I didn't always do stuff like that, so it was kind of a little bit of like, oh man, am I really gonna be able to get through this? And so then I drive up to Hastings to meet Shayna in the parking lot, and I get out and I sit on a bench and then a few minutes go by, and then a few more minutes go by, and then a lot of minutes are going by, and I'm starting to get a little worried. I'm starting to get a little worried that something has happened to Shayna, that she is not going to be able to make this meetup that we're doing, and which then it's like, oh wow, like I have just been like telling some story about, you know, getting stood up on my prom, and here it is actually happening to me. So I am genuinely looking depressed, looking a little pissed off, and this was 1994. Cell phones were not, you know, as ubiquitous, I think that's the right word, prevalent. No one had them. And so I couldn't call her. I mean, she was at who knows where she was. So then finally she pulls up, you know, her date had brought her over, and dropped her off. And then she was gonna go meet up with them later and a bunch of their friends and stuff. So So late. I don't know what had happened, but you know, whatever. She was gotten real late, and so we jump in the car and we go over to my prom, and by this time we had missed all of the parents. Um, my grandmother had shown up because she wanted to see me and everything. Totally missed that. We were the last people to show up, get our pictures taken. I think we danced a little bit, but then it was so late in the night that like she had to get back to her, um, you know, the friends and plans that she had, and so I was like, all right. So I took her back and you know, or dropped her off wherever, and then I went to our like prom after party, which took place in I think my friend Jake's pastor, his family's pastor, which was this huge bonfire that I think Jake had been soaking wood and kerosene for like weeks. So that thing lit up pretty good. But yeah, those are my my kind of two prom stories. So yeah, sometimes you got to be careful what you wish for or what you lie about, is what I mean, because that might actually come true, and kind of backfire on you. So all right, well, that is another episode of Shaving with Starr. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something. If not, then too bad. Anyway, all right, well, I guess that's it.